It's Saturday, October 26th, 2024, and we are 9 days away from the election. Welcome to today's Make It Make Sense mini-episode. I'm Grant Herms. On the show today, Harris holds a huge rally in Houston with the Queen Bee herself, Beyonce, and uses the rally to talk about abortion. And just a heads up on this too, if it wasn't clear from the title or what I just said there, this episode is about abortion and does include some brief mention of infant death. So for those of you who that's a tough thing to listen to, this might not be your episode. Okay, so Harris traveled to Texas to end the week, which was a really interesting choice. There just isn't the math to support the idea that Harris could come close to winning the Lone Star State, and usually you don't have a candidate travel to states they know they can't win because it's a waste of money and the most important resource in a campaign, the candidate's time to go down there and hold a rally that won't change any minds. She also wasn't there to talk about the border. She could have and would have gone to Arizona for that. She wasn't there to talk about Latinos or to them. She would have gone to Nevada or Arizona again for that. Or she would have gone to a deeply blue state like California or New York to shore support up with Latino voters there. She was in Texas to talk about abortion. Now, it's not on the ballot like it is in Arizona, but Texas has become the national center of the fight over anti-abortion laws, and she made a national plea about reproductive rights at this rally. Here's what she said in a press conference before the rally.
We are here to really highlight that, sadly, the elected leaders of Texas, a lot of them, have made Texas ground zero in this fundamental fight for the freedom of women to make decisions about their own body. So tonight we will be discussing the impact of that, not only to the women of Texas and their families, but to people around the country because of Trump abortion bans. And
now, Harris calls the state-by-state abortion bans or proposed travel bans in some cases Trump abortion bans, linking him to his appointed Supreme Court justices that he had said multiple times he selected to overturn Roe v. Wade, which later became a decision called Dobbs. You'll hear that frequently. And essentially end 50 years of national reproductive rights protections. It's been a line that she's used frequently in this campaign, and I don't know if it's all that effective, but it does put Trump's name negatively next to abortion a lot. And that's probably really what the Harris campaign is going for here. And just for some context, the Texas abortion ban is among the most restrictive in the country, known as a fetal heartbeat law, which is just what it sounds like, and that usually occurs between 5 and 6 weeks of a pregnancy, often before many women even know they're pregnant. It also does not allow for exceptions for what in medical speak is called congenital anomalies, but it means some sort of defect or abnormality that the fetus has, meaning they will never survive outside of their mother's body, whether an ultrasound finds a heartbeat or not. And this law has real consequences too. A recent study that was published in the Journal of the American Medical Academy found that when the law was enacted, infant mortality rose by almost 13%, or in hard numbers, there were 255 more dead infants in the state of Texas the year after the law went into effect than the year before. And compare that to the rest of the country that only had a 1.8% increase in infant death. Now, that study also looked at neonatal deaths, so infants who died within 28 days of being born, and it found that those deaths also rose by 145 babies, an increase that wasn't found in any other state at that time. So Harris chose Texas knowing those numbers and knows that because she was going to be joined on stage by Houston's own Beyonce Knowles, it was going to get national attention, and her rally and her national plea for reproductive rights was going to be shared to Beyonce's 314 million plus Instagram followers just on Instagram. It also has implications at the state level in Texas. I've talked a little bit about this before, but there is a contentious race for the Senate in Texas between Democratic Representative Colin Allred and current Republican Senator Ted Cruz. Now, right now, it's the most expensive race for a seat in the Senate, and it's been one of the races where the most outside money, so money from outside the state of Texas and the campaigns, has been pouring into this campaign, with Allred losing in the fundraising department. The latest polling has Cruz winning by 3.5 points, but polls in the last month have showed the race tightening pretty fast, some within a single point. So there's no doubt that having Allred also be a part of this national rally on reproductive rights is also about exposure for a Democratic candidate that the party desperately wants to win. But let's get to the actual rally itself. When Beyonce and Kelly Rowland walked out on stage, the stream that I was watching froze, I'm assuming because so many people tuned in. Here's a bit of what Beyonce had to say.
Our moment right now, it's time for America to sing a new song. Our voices sing a chorus of unity. They sing a song of dignity and opportunity. Are y'all ready to add your voice to the new American song? Because I am. So let's do this, ladies and gentlemen.
Now, Beyonce's name and face have been all over the Harris campaign. The official Harris campaign song is Beyonce's song Freedom, and it was played throughout the waiting period at the beginning of the rally and kind of the build-up. Beyonce didn't sing, although I kind of thought she was going to, but Houston was so excited to see her there, and it really brought a lot of energy to this rally that was already high energy to begin with. And then Harris came on and gave a really fiery speech about reproductive rights and family policy that was aimed directly at Trump and Republicans.
Do look at their records. They tend to be in states with the highest rate of maternal mortality in the country. For decades, these extremist leaders who have neglected prenatal care, maternity care, and postpartum care, and who now, after continuously failing to support women and children, claim to care about women and children. Well, I have a question for them. Where you been? Where you been?
So this was an interesting thing here because it has been Republicans for decades, and especially in this campaign, when you look at things like what J.D. Vance has been saying and other conservative outlets and think tanks, they want to be the party of families and family policy, and here Harris is turning that on its head and using it against them. She was also a little more relaxed in this speech than she's tended to be at these rallies, and she was clearly extremely passionate about the issue of abortion and access to care. She said Trump would push for a nationwide abortion ban and that she would sign nationwide abortion protections if it could get through the Senate. I should say here that Trump has balked at the national abortion ban idea, but J.D. Vance and other influential groups like the Heritage Foundation that Trump listens to have advocated for a national ban in some form or fashion. Now, Harris was also passionate about the Supreme Court as an issue too, pointing to the fact that Trump would likely be able to appoint 2 new conservative justices to lifelong terms on the High Court, ultimately saying that reproductive rights, because of that, were on the ballot in every state, no matter if there was an actual written question on your ballot or not. Now, overall, Harris struck a tone between enthusiasm and seriousness that at the outset of this campaign, just 90 to 100 days ago, people were unsure if she'd be able to do, and even in recent town halls, it wasn't clear. But it seems like maybe in these last few days, the campaign has ironed out those last few wrinkles, and that might be just enough just in time. Now, this speech also wasn't Harris's closing argument speech. That won't happen until this coming Tuesday, where she'll be back in Washington, D.C. in the same spot on the National Mall where Trump gave his Stop the Steal speech, but that is for next week. Okay. Please rate and review the show in whatever podcast app you're listening to this on. Like, subscribe, and hit that bell for notifications on YouTube so you don't miss out on any new episodes. You can also subscribe to the Make It Make Sense Substack, where I've got the extended interview with Liz Dye from yesterday's full episode up there right now. And as always, share the show on social media. It's MIMS News Pod. That's MIMS News Pod, all one word on every platform. I am at Grant Herms on X and at Grant Herms TV on everything else. Thank you so much for listening today. I'm Grant Herms, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.